So we're with Darryl Miller, who's getting inducted into the National Wrestling Hall of Fame as an Order of Merit recipient. So Darryl, let's go back to the beginning of how you got affiliated with wrestling. We talk about how you got into the sport and what you liked about the sport when you did get involved.
Well, Gary, it actually started back in 1978 at the University of Wisconsin. I was a graduate assistant in athletic training and new on the block there at the university. And we were assigned different sports, and the majority of us there at Wisconsin all served the football team initially, and then from there we went off and were assigned other sports. And wrestling was a sport that I was always interested in, and when I would leave the football practice field, I always walked by the wrestling room. And I saw a bunch of great guys, I thought, anyway, at the moment. And from there, we had a staff meeting, and being the new person on the block, they said, hey, does anybody want to take wrestling? And I waited to see if any hand was going to go up because I was new at it, and not a hand went up, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give this a chance. And I raised my hand, and I became the head trainer for the Wisconsin wrestling team. And from that point on, I never looked back. But an interesting piece to this is when I was assigned the wrestling team, I didn't understand. I realized later that they probably had a trainer a new trainer about every month, and so they weren't real high on just another guy coming in. And I can remember at that time talking to Coach Dwayne Clevin and said, "Hey, I'm your new trainer, and I want to do something special for these guys because I think they're special." And he kind of rolled his eyes and said, "Sure, whatever you need." And so my first encounter with them, when you look at that Leroy Kemp and Andy Ryan and Mitch Hall and the whole crew there, and said, "I'll have something for you at the end of every practice," and that was a big gator, a cold cooler of Gatorade and water, and you thought I'd given them heaven.
Yeah, right. Well, you need water and Gatorade after a good workout, right?
From that point on, I literally never looked back, and we're talking with wrestling, starting at Wisconsin, phenomenal 30 remarkable years.
Yeah, I mean, your background, what was your sports background, and what got you into being involved with sports medicine?
Well, I actually, when I was in college, I competed 4 years in gymnastics and 3 years in soccer. I was fortunate to be a letter in all those years. And then had a gentleman come through our school back at UW-Platteville State College, and he talked about being an athletic trainer, and I was very new at that point in my career, and thought, man, this guy is serving athletes just like I loved serving our Wisconsin wrestlers, and this was where it really started. That sparked my interest.
Well, you must have had some kind of a situation where you got connected with USA Wrestling. I mean, you were dealing with some great elite athletes at the University of Wisconsin, but somehow you were included in the national scene through USA Wrestling. How did that connection happen, and why did it work so well?
Well, that's an interesting story as well. I'm at the University of Colorado. I moved from Wisconsin to Colorado. The head orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Wayne Gersoff, was doing a fellowship with us at Wisconsin. He moved to Colorado, became the head physician for the CU Buffaloes. And when he got out there, he said, "Darryl, we need to start a high school outreach program at the University of Colorado and the Denver Public Schools." So doing so, I was working with a number of the physicians there, and this one gal, Dr. Suzanne Tanner, who's actually going to be at the induction ceremony, cool. She had just finished off doing the '92 Olympics, and was assigned a wrestling through the USOC back then. USA Wrestling, I think, looked to USOC for their trainers. Mm-hmm. And at that point, she said, hey, she became pregnant and told the USOC, I got a guy that would love to do it. And they said, great. So my first trip with USA Wrestling was in the fall of '93, a 2-week trip with some of our best of the best. Dave Schultz that's when I first met him, Larry Shakatano, and we made that trip in 2 weeks with Dan Shade. They're just great guys. And on our way home, we had a great 2 weeks. And on our way home, I didn't know this, but Dave was drafting up a letter to say, hey, we need to get this guy in USA Wrestling's pool and keep him there. And he had the boys sign it, and that was given to Mitch Hall. And at that, or I believe it was Mitch, but at that point, that letter I guess you could say, started my wrestling thing with USA Wrestling.
So, and you know, I've known you many years, and we've worked together a lot. One of the things that you're well known for is being all in when you're working with a team. I mean, you'll do anything and everything to help the athletes. Obviously, you're going to take care of their medical needs, but you were there for the whole deal and made a full commitment. Where did you get that kind of focus and take that approach to making sure that everyone on the team knew that Darryl would be available for whatever, whenever?
Gary, that's simply from the United States Marine Corps, being with our Special Ops Force Reconnaissance team for all those 3 years. Duty, discipline, and self-sacrifice. And that has carried over in my life. And that was no hard thing. It was just what we did. And those three pieces there were just rolled over into wrestling. And
you're going to have a few of your Marine comrades here this weekend, right?
Unbelievable. We served over 50 years ago during the Vietnam era. Many of them are disabled, of course, and just true Americans. And a dozen of them are flying out right now to come and join me and be a part of this. And it's just a remarkable group. But the Marine Corps really is what made the difference in my life. Because I'll be honest with you, prior to going in the Marine Corps, I was not on the right trajectory, as many of us were joining the Marine Corps. But they ironed out the kinks.
You know, and I always remember when we were all over the world, you'd get up early, you'd be the first one taking a big long run, you know, anywhere. You've probably seen most of the world with your sneakers on. Talk about your commitment.
Point.
Yeah, think about it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how important was it for you to keep yourself in top-notch shape as you were working with elite athletes and you know, continue in your life into adulthood, right?
Exactly, and in fact, I swam every place overseas that I could. The guys that just the guys in the team would thought that, you know, there was something wrong with me, but I love getting in the water out there, and that meant the Bosphorus. And when we were in Turkey, and probably not the smartest thing I've done, but nevertheless, it was just that they're you know, first one up, last one to bed. You want to make sure every athlete had been tended to throughout the day, and at the end, you better make sure when they hit the sack, they hit the rack, that they were feeling good about what my part of my job to help them. And it was, like I said, it wasn't a hard transition. It's what I had done, and I surely know they appreciated it. And it's really my respect, my admiration, and my love for being able to serve these men and women.
So let's talk a little bit about how you found time to do this. I mean, this is a volunteer position, right? And you would take weeks and weeks off at different times. I mean, you had a career. You had a career in education in Denver and other things going on. Could you tell us a little bit about what you did to pay your paychecks, right? And then also how you were able to find time to commit to the highest level wrestlers in the United States?
Gary, you're asking some good questions, and I think my wife could probably answer this one the best. She reminded me that every year there were weeks on end that she wouldn't see me, you know, and particularly when we had our World Championships and Olympic training, we'd be gone all summer. And yes, I had two jobs. I was a full-time high school teacher as well as a district athletic trainer. And but the school there, the Denver Public Schools, very gracious, because they knew that what I did in the field with our USA Wrestling team was brought back to the classroom. And I taught them exactly what they'd be doing as they see me performing out in the field. So that made that a bit easier. But on the family, it was tough. And I'll admit, when you're in the moment, you're not thinking about that. But now that I'm retired and step back, my family made as much, if not more, sacrifices to let me go and do what I love to do. And I appreciate you asking that question.
So what's it like to be directly involved with athletes right in the heat of battle during the most important events in the world, Olympic Games, World Championships. That has to be a unique place to be because you're part of it, right?
Yes, and I think for me, starting out, you're a little bit uptight, nervous, but as after you've done multiple World Cups and World Championships and Olympics, there's got to be a sense of calmness, and that's just from your experience. And with running with Coach Burnett, all the years we worked with, and particularly in the World Cups, we never lost one on our soil, and being around those kind of coaches, KJ, Zeke, Billy, Zadig, just that whole crew. And when Dave was Schultz back then, you had your business and you were in the moment and you performed. There was no other thing, the way to put it. You stayed focused and you didn't let distractions get in your way. It was all about the athlete.
Did you enjoy the experiences at the Olympics? I mean, very few people are allowed to do that. I mean, it's and again, we got another one coming up in a few weeks, right? What was that like to know you were in a unique place that really is important?
Well, Gary, again, I stayed focused on what was most important, and that was helping that athlete from my end to get on the podium. And really simply, it was that I didn't, just couldn't let the distractions of all the stuff that's there to get in your way. And the coaches that I worked with were the same, and I know the athletes appreciated that. They saw our genuine, laser focus on what we need to do just for them. And every athlete was different, and everyone needed different things. But we knew all that, and those athletes knew that they had a team that was in it to win it for them from the time they got up in the morning to the time they went to bed that night.
Yeah, I mean, the United States has excelled in wrestling, especially in men's freestyle, which is one of the programs that you're most active with. So you were part of the success of our country's teams for sure, right? You feel some pride in knowing how well we've done because you were included,
Yeah, I'd like to think that I had a good footprint, handprint on the success of a lot of those athletes, and I really appreciate the fact that I'm sitting here today because of their recognizing that, and I know they all appreciate it, but their support of me it gives me goosebumps.
Well, this award, the Order of Merit, I know personally because I got it once, yes. But it's voted on by the members of the Hall of Fame. I mean, what's it mean to you to be honored at the National Hall of Fame with the Order of Merit based upon the fact that it was the people that are in the hall that selected you for this honor?
I think that's the biggest piece of it all right there, Gary, that they're the ones that voted. Not the board members, not that they're not important and all that, but it's the athletes that I was in the trenches with in some of the most Spartan conditions in the world, on some tough challenges, said, hey, we appreciate what Darryl Miller did. And hey, I had a lot of great days with USA Wrestling. And we had a lot of hard, challenging days, but I can honestly say I never had a bad day.
Yeah, no, there were a lot of ups and downs when you deal with athletes, but they were all important and fun and positive, I would imagine, since you kept coming back, right?
Yes, well, and the other thing that's as important as everything we said there, a good majority of those men are men of faith and character, and that's how I line, and that was something else that made me realize the Lord has blessed me with a very special privilege of serving these incredible men and women.
Well, as a teammate of yours on so many tours and a friend of yours for the decades, I'm really proud and honored that you were able to receive this. And, are you looking forward to spending the time with the people coming in and just sharing the moment for the next couple of days?
Absolutely. I think my family, although they knew I was gone, they never really knew what impact was happening in the world of wrestling as we traveled. And now when they are all arriving here, they're going to meet a good share of the folks that I had the privilege of working with, like yourself, Gary, and that's going to be a real plus for me to see. They'll kind of see the rest of the picture of what's there. And going to the museum, I never dreamt that I would be actually in that hall. I know I am through the Colorado chapter, And I thought that was fantastic, and I thought, hey, that was enough at that point. But this was another level that hey, God shined his face on me.
Well, congratulations. Enjoyed chatting with you again, Darryl, and I look forward to seeing the rest of the week and all your people come together this weekend.
Thank you, Gary. Lots of love.
Excellent.